Here. I think we're live. We are live. All right, we're live. So, Cannoli Sasquatch, Greg Tutor here. I am with my co-host, Whiskey Banger, Tanner Moore. This is the partner in crime who's going to be doing the podcast with me, Whiskey and Cannolis. Right. Eventually, we're going to get that set up. So anyway, Tanner, thanks for joining me, man. I know you've had a long day, got a kid to watch.
Long day.
If you start crying, I understand if you got to run. Anyway, we're going to talk about a few subjects here. We're going to do a light show today, some sports stuff, maybe talk about a TV show at the end of the podcast. Ooh. Stranger Things or Terminal List. We're going to figure that one out. Probably Terminal List because that's the most recent one I've watched.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to go ahead and thanks Tanner again for coming in. Whoever's viewing, I don't know how many people. I got one person so far watching. I don't know who you are. That's Juliana.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll get some more people in here soon, but it's all about the views afterwards, right? So I'll put some. Oh, there's Tim. There he goes. There he goes.
Where's he at?
Hey, do you see the chat on the side? Can you see it?
Oh, I see comments. Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go.
So he's saying this is how he said it should be set up. I figured it out because he was telling me what to do. Don't act like I'm not watching. This is your boy, Tanner.
Hey, I tried to get him to come on the show, but he's not having it.
No, he doesn't want to come on the show. He's a coward. But you know what? He did give me some good advice off of the stream on text. So I'll give him props for that, even though he doesn't want to come on. But we won't call him out for that yet. All right, so let's talk about some sports stuff first. Let's start off here. So, Tanner, I know it's hard to follow everything that's been going on in the sports world because a lot of it I don't care about. But the one that caught my eye recently, and I want to share this here if I can, is this story of I'm going to bring this on. This story here about LeBron James. So he made a comment about Brittany Griner the other day saying, like, why would she want to come back to America anyway? Like, America doesn't care about her. They're not doing enough to bring her back. And there's some other motivating factors there. Let's face it. We know Griner had a lot of problems with the BLM stuff going on when that happened with George Floyd. There was a lot of stuff since then. She would kneel for the flag. Basically said America was a shit country. She gets arrested, obviously, we all know, in Russia.
In Mother Russia.
Bringing back, what was she? She had like weed or
it was like THC or something.
Something like that. So I want to understand something. So it's illegal. They're in the middle of a war or the start of a war at this point. You get caught, you play the victim, and you blame everybody else. Seems about right for these days, right?
That's exactly what she did.
So now Mr. LeBron James is trying to clarify his statements. So he has this stupid show on HBO called The Shop, right? I don't know. It's kind of like a sports show with him. He has guests on, sports guests. So he's basically saying, initially right here, over 110 days now, she doesn't feel like America has her back. Why would you even come back? Or do I even want to come back? Now, we all know LeBron James is kind of it's cannabis. Okay, so it was cannabis in the chat. LeBron James also is one of these victim mentality weaklings who the first billionaire, was he the first billionaire athlete or not the first, but like because of basketball, he became like the first billionaire athlete. So this guy's literally worth $1 billion or more. Movies, advertising deals, whatever. I don't understand. Tan, I want you to explain something to me. How does somebody like that, who's a black man in America, how could you hate America? You might not love its policies. We all know America's got some issues, but you're a billionaire off of a sport that you play. I want to understand this logic of how you can hate America, or at least constantly make fun of it. To me, he's not smart enough to be educated on these matters. But talk to me about this Brittany Griner thing. Like, what do you think about this when he says, well, does she even want to come back to America? America doesn't have her back. And then his comments in the past about stuff like this and him being a billionaire athlete.
Well, this is loaded because first off, I have opinions about Brittany Griner to begin with.
Yeah, we know. We've talked about them.
I'll keep things light. Since this is my first time on, I don't want to get kicked off.
No. Go ahead. It's okay. Yeah, I get it.
I have strong opinions about the whole BLM movement.
Yeah.
Kneeling for the national anthem. Disrespecting America, disrespecting the flag. Everyone's
now let's share this real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but not everybody knows you did serve in the military, right? You were in the
I
Army.
did.
You were overseas.
I was.
And not going to bring too much into that, but so for you, it's more of it's a personal thing.
I would say yes. I mean, even before I was in the military, like I was a pretty patriotic person. You know, I was proud of being American, proud of the flag. I'm a firm believer in you don't have to like whoever is in charge of the country, but
Sure.
you can still promote patriotism, promote your country.
Sure.
And when I see these multi-millionaire / in this case LeBron billionaire
billionaire
talking about how America is this, I mean, he didn't
systemic
quote
racism,
unquote say that, but
yeah,
I know what he's insinuating is that basically, you know, why would Brittany Griner want to come back to America when America doesn't have her back? Basically calling America out for being a racist, sexist, misogynist country.
Yeah.
Not to mention she's also LGBT. So, I mean, let's just check off the list, right? She's a woman.
And again, it's not even the fact that, you know, we always talk about this, man. People can do what they want. Like it's a free country. But my problem with this is, especially like you were just saying, you checking off all these boxes, especially in this culture, and then you got her ripping the country before, now begging to come back. And we always used to talk about this. Like I remember you used to tell me, if I can bring some of the people who hate this country, rip the country for nefarious reasons, and take them where I was in Iraq, wherever in the Middle East you were, and show them what it's really like to live in a poor country. Not America, not American poor. I'm talking about poor.
We're talking
third
about world country poor.
Yeah, like I remember you were telling me a story where they were digging their own freaking holes to go to the bathroom in their houses because they didn't have plumbing and there's no water. So
no electricity.
I mean, and then also those people, the good people there, and I mean, you could attest to this. They're afraid for their lives every day because of the bad guys. And it's not like people here think the cops are the bad guys, but over there you have real bad guys looking to take control and you know, hurt these people. And so, you know, and then he comes out on Tuesday night, of course, and he was like, "Oh, I wasn't knocking our beautiful country." That tells me he got a lot of pushback, right? And his people told him, "You need to kind of correct this a little bit, rephrase what you said." I
mean,
so exactly, and bad optics for a billionaire athlete. And then you basically here, like it's what he should have said was like, "Listen, hey, you know, America's great. She wants to come back because she's from here." You know, it sucks that maybe Biden or whoever she's begging is not doing enough. But you know, hey, yeah, now he's backing off a little bit. You know, he's emotional and all this, and I think it's a lot of bullshit with him. I think it's a lot of placating. I don't think he means anything he says. I don't trust the guy. I think he's soft, to be honest with you, mentally. So it's just curious to me how initially when this was going on, they said it was a race thing to begin with, like a complete racial. If this was a white athlete, if it was a male athlete like LeBron James, they would have had them back sooner. I don't know if I believe that. It's just crazy to me how any athlete, like I said, we can have differing opinions. If you're an athlete, you might not like policy. It baffles me though, like the riches and everything you've gotten from this because of a talent you had to play a sport and to still knock the country, any athlete. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here for a second. If LeBron was in any other non-Western civilization country, he wouldn't be worth anything.
No.
Like, what would he be doing in, you know, Zimbabwe right now? What would he be doing in Cameroon or Iraq, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan?
Even in Europe, the basketball players who play in Europe, they make okay money for out there, but it's nothing like he'd be doing here. I mean, he wouldn't be a billionaire, you know, not even close. So it just drives me crazy when I see stories like this, and I'm like, you know, and then the backpedaling. Just be honest. I'd rather him be honest than like say it and then pull it back, and then say it and then pull it back. It just shows to me it's just not authentic, you know. It's just fake. Here, I'm gonna stop sharing this screen now, but it just drives me crazy. So anyway, so that's one of that story. I had to get your opinion on that because I saw the comments again, and I just love that guy so much. I swear to God. All right, we're gonna get on to a subject here real quick though that me, you, and Tim have been talking about. So I know this show was the first show Tanner and I are doing together. We're just kind of get our feet wet a little bit. We're trying to just kind of see how this is going to go and what subjects we're going to talk about. We're going to get on a subject that you love. And I know you're chomping at the bit. 46 days from now, college football is back.
Let's go Big Red.
So all right, so we got this new here. I'm going to share this screen real quick. We got this new setup for these conferences. There's been a lot going on, Tanner, with college football. A lot. So let's talk about this first. Let's talk about how we feel about the Big Ten adding teams from what seems like Europe. Just Tim was right about one thing. We don't care about geography anymore. It's all about money. We know how the sport
geography
works. Yeah, geography doesn't matter. So give me your opinions on the UCLA and USC moving, and then the potential of Notre Dame coming to the Big Ten possibly, which I don't think Tim wants because he's a Notre Dame fan. He doesn't want to get spanked.
I was going to say, dude,
not in that conference, but no. Let's talk about that. Like, what you are a much bigger opponent of it. Not opponent, but you're expert in this stuff. What do you think about this move?
I think it's huge for both sides. SEC just took on Oklahoma and Texas. Granted, Texas isn't exactly a powerhouse in the last decade or so, but regardless, they have a ton of money. They get a ton of recruits. There's tons of ties to the state of Texas for high school football and recruiting purposes.
Sure.
So what better way for the Big Ten to counter that with picking up a team like USC and UCLA? Now, USC, in my opinion, blue blood school. Again, they haven't been as good in the last, decade and a half since the early 2000s. But regardless, it's still a blue blood school.
Yeah.
The Big Ten just took on the entire LA market for viewers.
It's huge.
It's huge. Like, Big Ten was already the largest grossing conference in college football.
Look at the fan bases in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's
Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, even Nebraska. Nebraska is the South. I mean, yeah. And then you're adding the whole West Coast, basically the whole most of the West Coast in there. Now USC also has a new coach. They recruited well in the offseason.
Yes, they did.
The thing is, how competitive can they really be in the Big Ten when you're matching them up against teams that have already kind of, I don't want to say stacked, but that top end to bottom end, it's a pretty well balanced conference. So where do they fit? I know UCLA. We know where they're going to be. They're just going to me, they don't. Not that they don't belong, but they're kind of bottom. But where could USC fit between Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska? Like and all these teams did well. They recruited well. They have talent. So where do we go? Where do they fit?
I think USC still has a lot of growing pains to get through.
I agree.
Tim, our boy, he is chugging the Kool-Aid. That frozen Kool-Aid.
He's loving what they're doing. And like I said, I get the excitement, but like he's asking the question, Tim, in the chat: would Notre Dame fit better in the Big Ten or the ACC? Try to create another super conference, maybe.
Now that's actually a good point because I was hearing some ESPN commentators talking earlier today, and they were talking about how basically it's going to turn into the Power 2 conference where everybody's going to either hop on the SEC train or the Big Ten train.
Right.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I'd rather have at least if we were going to do it, maybe do like a Power 4, like Tim's talking about, have Notre Dame.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Head down to the ACC. But I've been hearing a lot of talk about Clemson already hopping on board and maybe getting on with SEC. So, which I'm not a fan of that. I like the.
Well, we talked about that before the stream. Like, how much more talent does the SEC need? I mean, like they're already got like basically they could start an NFL freaking division with all the talent they have and try to like almost beat some of the teams in the NFL. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Like, how much more talent does that conference need?
Like you touched on it a little bit earlier. In my opinion, I think the Big Ten top to bottom is
most well balanced.
Probably the most balanced
Yeah.
of the conferences. But if you look at the tip of the spear, the
Yeah.
SEC is just ridiculous. Like
It's insane.
Bama, Georgia, LSU. You got Florida that's up and coming.
Yeah, they're
Texas
getting better.
A&M is recruiting out of their freaking minds right now. It's like,
And the funny thing is, LSU's been kind of
crazy.
like not typical LSU, right? I mean, they've been kind of
yeah, ever since after they won that Natty,
they went, yeah,
Joe Burrow left for the NFL. They lost Jamar Chase. They lost Justin Jefferson. They lost a bunch of defensive players. Ed Orgeron gets fired. All of a sudden, LSU is like, they took a couple steps back, but LSU again is in the top 10 right now.
Isn't that crazy? It's so crazy.
Tim's boy, Coach Kelly, is now their head coach. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's nuts. And I that's going to be very interesting. This is all going to play out really weird. So what is Tim asking here in the chat? What do the teams west of Texas do at this point? Will there be a super conference out west? That's a good point. Like, what happens to the teams that are left out and just kind of left in there? These conferences now, they're like, what do we do?
I kind of like the idea of, like, the Big 12 just took on Cincinnati, UCF.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. You got these smaller schools that are actually doing really well and winning a lot of games. That's great. Like, bring them up. Like UCF down in Florida, they can recruit now that they're in a power, quote unquote 5 conference.
Sure.
They can do better recruiting. So for teams west of Texas, like Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, I think the Big 12 should make their own super conference, kind of like what we were talking about a little bit ago. So have the Big 12 take on those teams, have the Big 10 take on USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, have Notre Dame head down to the ACC, and now all of a sudden you have like a legitimate Power 4 conference. Now, is it equal? No, not even freaking close. SEC and Big 10 would still rock the crap out of both of those conferences.
Right.
But I like the idea of – I basically don't like the idea of 2 conferences. If they do that, I think that's a foolish decision. Because how would you – like, what would that look like?
It would be very odd.
Yeah,
it wouldn't look right. No, I agree.
Like, conference championship, like, cool. I'm in the Big 10 and there's 26 teams. Like, how do you?
Yeah, it's strange.
How do you filter through that? Do you split it up into, instead of 2 divisions in the Big 10, do you split it up to 4 divisions? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions there.
You're right. There's a lot of questions, and there's one of the points that we're going to get to next here is Nick Saban. He weighed in on it. Tim Saban, yeah, he has concerns over competitive balance. He's mega conferences are the new normal. So basically, he went on to kind of just talk about. They label him as the best coach in college football. I know some people will debate that, but I think he is. Yes, me and you at least agree on that. So with UCLA, USC moving in, he's talking about mega conferences. He thinks they're here to stay and the market share and stuff like that. So here's the bottom line. Is this good for college football in the long run? Not now. Because I think there's a new excitement to it. Things change. Some people don't like change. We talked about that before the show about how, somewhat of a traditionalist maybe, where you're like, I like the old way. But yeah, talk about that. Like, what do you think? Where does this go? How does this look going forward, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
I think long term, it's not a good thing. Only because all this realignment is based on money.
Yeah.
So add in the NIL deals, add in
a big
players literally getting paid to play.
Right.
I feel like the landscape of college football is just going to become, I can't use the word monopoly, but it's going to be a bunch of individual teams that have the deepest pockets, that have the best coaches, that get the best recruits. And it's going to be, look at how the playoffs already been since the playoffs started.
Right.
It's the same 2 teams and then switch out like 1 or 2 teams here and there. Right. So it's always Bama and Georgia, and then LSU and Notre Dame. Okay. Next year it's Bama, LSU, Notre Dame. Ohio State. All right, next year it's Clemson, Bama. It's the same like 5 or 6.
Same
7.
rotation. So eventually people will get tired of watching that. And then, because that's one of the things he was saying here about competitive balance. He was comparing it to the NFL a little bit here, saying that every team's 8-8 and, it creates. So basically in the NFL, you could be 8-8 in the last week now because you have that extra game. And then you have a bunch of markets now that are possibly could make the playoffs. It increases revenue, increases interest. Doesn't mean it's better for the game. We always talk about this, or how competitive balance is so different. Especially in the NFL now, it's just so many mediocre teams that have possibilities of winning. And it's a quality of play thing to me. It's like if the quality of the sport is suffering, but here's the thing. They make they make a shit ton of money in the NFL because of this, especially now because of this. More TV deals, it brings in more marketing, more advertising to the networks. So where does that leave the fan, like the hardcore fan like you? You've been watching college football your whole life. You love college football. Tim's a huge college football fan. So is there a possibility ever that you can go, I'm kind of just done with college football altogether because it's just not it's not good enough for me anymore. The competition's weird. The sport's not the same. Is there a point you see yourself going, I'm just kind of I'll be a casual fan now?
If I see college football get to the point where college fantasy becomes a thing, and super conferences where, like, let's just say it's the Big Ten and the SEC,
right,
and it's constantly the same teams in every year over and over again.
Right.
And like even Tim down in the comments here, he brought up a good point. Like Cincinnati had a great season, right? Awesome season, smaller school, group of 5 school.
They fought to get up in that playoff.
Yep. And then they show up to the playoff and they get spanked. Like
they got killed.
That's what now I don't want to take anything away from these programs that are killing it right now. Like Georgia's killing it, Bama's killing it, Clemson was killing it. They've kind of taken a step back. But Tim said college fantasy is already a thing. All right, I quit. I'm not a college football fan anymore.
Oh, that's my point. Like, see, that's my thing. Like, I kind of feel like, especially with all these super conferences now, it's becoming more of a fantasy type league. You're getting these. I mean, I don't know. Like I was telling you before the show too. It's like we got these matchups now that we're going to have new matchups in the Big Ten, especially for both of us. Like I like the traditional matchups. Some of the outer conference stuff is great once in a while, but I love that you playing Ohio State and Nebraska's when we do play them, and then Michigan and all those, Iowa, all those. Now you're bringing USC to that, and then UCLA. I don't really, whatever. They don't excite me. USC though, like you said, they're a blue blood school. A lot of tradition, and they are improving.
I mean,
so it's like
they're number one in the transfer portal right now. So
that's my point. Like, would it be so? Okay, so then there you go. So as a Nebraska fan, do you like that idea of playing USC as instead of maybe another out of conference random team? Now you have a better, so it increases the competition. The games are better, but again, does that help or hurt long run?
I think it. So okay, let's break this up here in a second. So to answer the question, in the long run, I think it's better competition-wise because, like Tim said down here in the comments, USC's killing the transfer portal. They are. They're killing it in recruiting right now. So, but the Pac-12 has been a very anemic conference in college football for the last decade. They haven't been that good.
Terrible.
So you take a team like USC with all that tradition, all the national championships. You take a young coach who a lot of people say is a top 3, top 4 coach in the country in Lincoln Riley, take his talents along with the talents of USC to the Big Ten. It's going to make things competition going to be a lot stiffer because whereas before, Nebraska, for example, that's my team, would be playing North Dakota, Montana, New Mexico State.
Right, those kind of off-brand.
Yeah, some fluff schools to start out.
Smaller schools, yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, now 2 more people just joined the Big Ten. So, there's a good chance that one of those teams is going to get bumped. So now you have another Power 5 on your schedule.
Yeah.
And we don't know who else is coming to the Big Ten either. So
we don't know. Well, you got to understand too. This is not happening for what, another 2 years. Is it 2024?
Yeah,
this is happening. So we still got some time to kind of evaluate how this is. Tim said the Pac-12 is hot trash. I mean, he's not wrong.
Dude. Tim said something a couple days ago, and I agree with him. The AAC, the American Athletic Conference, with teams like SMU and like UCF and South Florida, that conference is better than the Pac-12, like top to bottom.
Oh yeah, I agree.
In my opinion.
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It's just that sports have changed so much, all sports, but college, like, guys like Nick Saban, you got to figure he's a traditionalist, right? He just likes things the way they are. I mean, I don't think he has to worry. Maybe you think that's okay. That's my next question. Is for Saban, do you think as a coach and with his tenure, his championships, his record, I mean, if you're him, are you nervous about these changes? Not from a traditional standpoint as far as what he's always known as college football. Does it hurt Alabama's chances of recruiting? I don't know if that's true. I've heard people talk about that on the radio and on podcasts. That's why he's kind of, pushing against it. But you tell me, because like I said, you know more than I would.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for the man, but knowing what I know about college football like I'm real big into high school recruiting. So
yeah, I know.
That's something
we get the text messages all day long.
Yeah. And so from that aspect, I can definitely say if I was Nick Saban, I would be a little nervous because regardless of how good or bad Texas has been over the last decade and a half, they still recruit out of the ass because the state of Texas.
Well, it's just ripe with talent.
I mean, it's a freaking money pit of talent. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So if you take, one of the big knocks about Texas over the last couple of decades is that, again, it's the same thing as USC. They play in a weaker conference. Right. So you get these 5-star kids coming out of the state of Texas.
Right.
When they have an offer to go to Alabama or Texas, they're going to take Alabama. But now that Texas is in the SEC, a much more competitive conference, a lot more money, a lot more viewers, he might lose some of those freaking recruits. I mean, I could see it happen.
Yeah.
He's already lost a couple of transfers to Texas.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. And that's a lot of. I've been hearing that kind of a lot lately, where that's why he's kind of pushing back on it a little bit. And it's understandable. I mean, but to me, his legacy is cemented. We know the guy's. You could say there's some argument, is he the best college football coach ever? I mean, he's at least obviously in the argument. Okay, this is a good point here now. With Archie Manning in Texas. I wanted to get your opinion on this because there's a lot of stuff coming out. I'm going to share this because I really wanted your opinion on this more than anything about this. Stuff like this. A lot of people coming out lately, man, saying that, he's a Manning. So way overhyped because of his family name. He's not that good of a quarterback. He's a solid quarterback, but he's not great. Obviously, nephews of Peyton and Eli, you got a lot of traction with that name. Even with their father. I mean, obviously he never won championships, but he was well known. Like, where do you see this? Because I don't know if you and Tim have talked about this on our little thread. I think you had maybe mentioned this briefly last week. Is this a good move for Texas, number one? And number two, is Archie Manning, in your estimation, because you follow the high school scene a little more, is he overrated?
So he is overrated. I think a lot of people are banking on the Manning name and the fact that he has a very prototypical NFL quarterback frame. Now,
yeah, okay, that's a good point. I never thought about that.
I would say, in my humblest of opinions, I think he's a high 3-star, low 4-star.
Yeah, because you can hear Arch Smith on the Daily Wire show, Crane and Company, even says it right here on their podcast. He's a 3-star quarterback.
Yeah, like I would agree with that. Like I would put him in a high-end 3-star, maybe a low-end 4-star. The dude's 6'4". He's got an arm, like he can throw.
Yeah, but does he have those intangibles?
He's got to beat out Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers, to me, is a way better quarterback. Now, I think Manning has a potential for a pretty high ceiling.
Right.
But right now, like his floor is lower than Quinn Ewers, for sure.
Okay, so is he starting because he's a Manning?
They have not named a starter yet.
They haven't named a starter. Because if you're the coach, so you're the coach, what do you think the alumni is telling him? What do you think is the organization getting pressure? You have to start him. He's a Manning. It's a legacy. Like, now, if you're thinking of it as far as an administrative thing, a coaching thing, or what's best for the team, we know what we would probably do as far as what's best for the team. But that's not these days we don't live in reality anymore. It's all about name branding. And God knows what he made on the back end with the licensing deals, because he's making a shit ton of money off that. It's insane.
I mean, I'm convinced he went to Texas for two reasons. One,
that oil money.
Number one, first and foremost, and two, because Texas went to the SEC, like Tim said in the comments.
That was a great point he made.
I think that's why he chose Texas.
Yeah.
He's
saying here in the comments, Tate Martell was a better high school QB than Archie Manning.
Now, he's not wrong. I mean,
I don't think he's wrong.
He is absolute trash.
Talented.
But you cannot take anything away from Tate Martell and what he did at his time at Bishop Gorman High School.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, for that. Yeah.
Now, going back to
go ahead. I want to get
what you were saying. I completely veered off course there. So you were talking about Texas as in
like what do you do?
University. Are they getting pressure to start Manning? Here's my thing. So one of my gripes with University of Texas just in general is, in my opinion, the reason why they haven't been that good the last decade and a half, is there's too many people at the top pulling the strings with their freaking booster money, their oil money, whatever, freaking all right on the sideline. Whatever the fuck his name is. Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, you mean Mr. Gun Control?
Yeah, exactly. Mr. fucking Gun Control. So I feel like Texas hasn't been good because there's too many people at the top that are pulling the strings, trying to make moves happen. And it's like, and this whole Arch Manning thing screams of that.
Yeah.
Like, they just got the transfer Quinn Ewers from Ohio State. Dude is an absolute stud. Look up his freaking, just watch his film and be like, good Lord, this dude can freaking play.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, Texas should start Quinn Ewers. And then if they want to, red shirt freaking Arch, let him sit on the bench, train him up a little bit. Fine,
just
cool.
let him sit.
Yeah, like let him learn the system. But I guarantee you someone at the top is screaming because they know someone who knows Peyton, who knows Archie Manning, and they're going to sit there and try to make it happen.
That's my point. And so even here, look at this comment. I mean, he plays a very low level of competition for El State. He hasn't progressed. He had a really good freshman season. I wouldn't say regression, but he hasn't progressed. Progressed. So when he goes up against top level competition, now again, I mean, how much leeway do you give him though? Do you give him leeway because he's I mean, how much rope does he have being a Manning? That's the question. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on this kid. And knowing them, the Manning family, for some reason, it's weird. Like Eli, especially, we know the guy just let it roll off his. I don't know how the hell he did it. All those, me being a Giants fan, to me, what was most impressive, two things. We know that he wasn't the greatest quarterback of all time, but his durability and his ability to just push all that shit off of him. Being in the biggest market in the country. Now, I'm getting off course a little bit, but it ties into this. Like being in the biggest market in the country, the toughest media market. I mean, they wanted him traded before he won his first Super Bowl. They wanted Coughlin fired. Like, how the hell? So do you see Arch? Does he have that kind of personality? Do you think he can play it off? That easy kind of, whatever happens. Well, is that just how what's in that family's DNA? It's really weird.
It's funny you asked that because he reminds me of Eli more than any of them.
Right.
Like if you listen to him in interviews, which I've only heard
just like him, dude.
Sounds just like him. Very like calm demeanor.
Yeah.
It has that little Southern drawl. It's like,
Yep.
like, okay, I understand that those dudes are your uncles, but you could be their goddamn son. Like,
Yeah, he's so young.
crazy.
It's weird to me. That was a shock, though. I think we were kind of surprised at first when we all got that notice on the apps that he was signed with them. But then more I thought about it, like you said, it's Texas. A lot of the guy's basically going to be he's set for life after he with this deal. He's going to get his name and licensing, all that shit. Yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that because I'm very curious. A lot of stuff going around about how Manning is, overrated lately. It's been coming out a little more and more. We'll see. So to finish off the college football thing, so what people have to know is that my boy Tanner here is a Nebraska Cornhusker fan.
Go Big Red.
Been through a lot with this team for a long time, but they've been improving. I mean, I think they're having a hell of an offseason with the recruit, especially the transfer portal. They've been going nuts. Do they make a playoff? No. Did they make a bowl game this year? What bowl game do you pick? If right now, I know it's early, what bowl game do they get to? I'm putting you on the spot now because this is tough because we got a long way to go.
Okay. I think they're going to go bowling this year. In my personal opinion, I think they're going to improve this year. They're going to go 6-6, maybe 7-5.
What was their record last year again?
3-9.
Yeah, I remember you were. What's funny? They lost a lot of close games last year. A lot of close games that they had leads in.
Nebraska lost 9 games by single digits.
How many of those games did Martinez lose for them, though?
Like 7 of them.
Your guy was
the other 2 were by the kicker.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember watching those games and we were texting each other. It's sad because we always talk about Martinez, and thank God, the guy plays hard. He's just like you always saying about him. He's an anomaly a little bit because the guy's talented. He does weird shit on the field that you don't expect. He makes plays that he shouldn't make, and then the easy stuff he doesn't do well. It's really, really weird quarterback. But I think most Nebraska fans are happy that they're kind of like, all right, we're done with this. I
can officially say as a Cornhusker fan, I am glad that Adrian Martinez transferred. I wish him nothing but the best.
Of course, I hope nothing against him personally.
I hope he tears it up. I don't hate the guy or anything, but
no, the guy played his ass off. Yeah,
the dude, one play, he'll look like a Heisman Trophy candidate.
That's my. And the other time he's throwing like interceptions into fucking dual coverage, and you're like, where are we? Very weird.
It's we're down by 3. There's 1:30 left in the game, and all you got to do is get us in field goal range, just get us in overtime, and you throw an interception, or you fumble it, or you do something insane that I'm just like,
yeah. I remember how frustrated you would be. I remember like, oh, I'm done with this guy. It's just very frustrating because they really played very well last year and against big teams. Like there were games I thought they could have won and should have won. I felt bad for Frost, man. He's getting a lot of shit down there. And, I know we talked about this, or maybe I had sent you the link. There was a show recently, maybe a couple of months ago, they were saying like, is Frost overrated as a coach? It's like, I don't know if I could say he's overrated. I think he's had a stretch of really bad luck. I want to see what he does with this team. This is going to be a good test for him now because he's got some talent. Now, again, like you were saying, nobody's expecting them to go to a freaking playoff game, win a national championship. But you just I know you always just say you just want to see a level of improvement. Yeah, it's kind of like how I am with it. Show me you're improving. Like last year, to me, they improved, even though the record obviously didn't show it. They made strides, but then you still got to win games. You know what I mean? That's kind of like how, not to get off track, but with the Giants, got a whole new GM, a new coaching staff now, the football team Giant, the New York football Giant. They're going to be bad, but I always tell fans, you got to I want to see how they progress. I want to see improvement, especially from Daniel Jones, which let's not get into that right now. But that's for another show. But no, I mean, Frost this year. Now, here's my thing, though. You being a Cornhusker fan, if they have another 3-9 season, 4-8, I mean, do you feel like he's on the hot seat this year, period? Or is it after this year? He's got one more year after this season. If they don't do well.
I think that this year is the hot seat year. If he doesn't go 500 and goes bowling, he's going to get fired.
I think you're right.
because this is year 5 of the Scott Frost era.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things about Scott, like personally, I like Scott Frost. I like his vision. I like his intensity.
Sure.
He's a hard-nosed football kind of guy. Like you got to remember, Scott Frost was the quarterback coach that coached up Marcus Mariota
Right.
at Oregon.
All right. That's right. I remember that.
He recruited Justin Herbert.
Wow.
So the dude has some freaking skills as a coach, obviously. I mean, as a player, he was great too back in, the 97 Huskers national championship.
Yeah. What does that say? What did Tim just say? You mispronounced bad luck. It's pronounced Adrian Martinez. Well, that's the thing. Like,
he's right there.
No, I know, but when you hear about these guys who are old players coming back to legends, I mean, Scott Frost is a legend in Nebraska, right? Before he was a coach. I really feel bad for these guys because I know that the fan base gets excited and the team, not the team, but like the administration gets excited. And then when it doesn't work out, it always seems to be that, it's tough coming back to your old alma mater. It's like, well, I really honestly at this point thought it would be better. I think you did too. But I want to see him succeed because of that history he had. I mean, won a national championship with them. To come back and coach them into one would be amazing. Do both ways. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this is it. Like if he doesn't, they have to kind of almost move forward or at least plan ahead. I mean, if they have another bad season, you can't do that to the fan base. You can't do it to him. Like it's like, hey, the experiment didn't work. Sorry, no, tough luck. Tough luck. Here's your money and go home.
My big knock on Frost since he's been in Nebraska is he's a very stubborn guy.
Very loyal to his players, huh?
So loyal to players, so loyal to coaches. This is the first year that he had an open quarterback room to where you guys figure out who the starting quarterback is going to be, because every year before that, it was Adrian Martinez.
Yeah.
Like Frost would say, oh, there's a, competition. All these guys are, the typical rhetoric, like all our guys are good and blah, blah. Anyone could be a starter. But no, it was Adrian Martinez from day one.
Well, I think there's a little desperation there from him because I think he knows his ass is on the line now. So you got to kind of think outside the box. You can't do what's been not working for you. If you're a smart head coach, you learn how to adapt.
It took him 4 years to figure it out.
Oh, and that's my point. Like I remember speaking of coaches, and I only know this because I'm only using the Giants from my own personal experience. When they beat the Patriots, the undefeated, the team that choked in the Super Bowl, the undefeated team that year, that season, a lot of like Michael Strahan didn't want to come back because Coughlin had that hard nose. He was a good coach, but he was kind of just stuck in his ways. And then he admitted he lightened up. He still hard nosed, but he did push back. He talked to his players a little more. He gave them captain roles. He told Strahan and other players, hey, you take over these situations. You're the captains. And the players responded. And Strahan to this day hated him in the beginning. Now they're best friends. He loves the man. So I think there is something, especially a guy like that at that age, to change. And look at the success he had after that. He won another Super Bowl. I think it says something about your character if you can admit that you need to make a change. Now, part of that is desperation, right? Because your job's on the line. Yeah, but I think Frost is smart enough to know this is like, I got to do something here,
Yeah, and he pretty much cleaned shop. He fired every single coach minus the tight ends coach.
Right.
Because our tight ends were actually killing it.
Right.
But he brought in Mickey Joseph, wide receiver coach from LSU.
Right.
Which has worked out huge for us because we got a 4-star transfer from LSU.
Right.
We stole a 4-star wide receiver from LSU recruiting. Right. So Mickey Joseph is he coached up Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase at LSU. So that's huge. Then he got Dominic Raiola, who played in the NFL, and then he played at Wisconsin, played in the NFL, and then he was a offensive line coach in the NFL as well.
Right.
So hopefully that'll shore up our offensive line because that was a train wreck last year.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. I think you're right, though. I think I see improvements this year, though. From everything that I've heard about, you've talked to me about, what we've read about. I think Frost made the correct. I think he's done enough. I think the team's done a very good job of recruiting. The transfer portal, like I said, they went every time you're texting me, they're getting some 4-star defensive player, and then there was whatever happened with the guy though that Penn State and Nebraska were fighting over. It was a.
He still hasn't decided.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to talk with him.
Yeah, give him a text, see if he wants.
He wants to go to a winning team. I mean, we'll get on the Penn State train another time because I have some thoughts on them. But, all right, so we got 15 minutes left. So let's take this time to. We're going to go off college football for a minute. That was an awesome conversation, though. Like I said, I love your expertise on this stuff. You're a little more well in the know. What is Tim saying here? Is Casey Thompson we dress up at the holiday? He's saying you're going to the Holiday Bowl. Oh, God.
Hey,
I got to see. I need to get Tim on here if he is man enough to do it because I think, listen, I need a guy who can talk baseball once in a while.
Yeah,
I know you. No, I know, and I get it, but I want to, I want Tim to go on one of his tangents, just in general. And if not everybody out there knows what I mean, Tim has these epic rants that he goes on where it just gets biblical. So he won't come on. He's afraid to come on. He won't come on.
Well, he said earlier in the comments, there's a 6-foot limit to ride this ride.
Yeah, well, in case you don't know, he's a short Asian, half Asian man, so he's really not tall. He can't ride a lot of the rides at Disney or Universal. He gets upset about this. Okay, maybe a tangent. We're gonna do a shift here at the end of the show. So to get people to know us a little better, and all 4 people that are watching, I mean, we're gonna do a quick just synopsis of. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. These are real simple questions. Okay. Favorite movie, favorite book, and favorite song.
Whew.
And I mean of all time.
Of all time.
Your favorite. Not what what's objective or subjective. It's whatever you think.
Okay, let me clarify some things. Are we talking greatest, like my favorite movie, just fun movie, or like my favorite movie, like cinematic masterpiece?
I guess, we got to do. Okay, so this is why we're going to have so many good podcasts because this is the problem we always differentiate with people. What's considered your favorite movie and what's considered a great movie. So that's like comparing, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like our favorite stupid movie we talk about is Tango and Cash, right? It's one of them. But you can't compare that to The Godfather or Shawshank or Apocalypse Now. So let's do this. Give me your favorite. I guess we could do genres. Okay, so what's your favorite wartime movie?
Favorite war movie is
I think I know
Black Hawk Down.
Okay, Black Hawk Down. Okay, so we'll stick with that category for now. We'll move into the other categories on another stream. So we'll do favorite wartime movie. Okay, so what's your favorite song of all time?
Favorite song of all time is going to be Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin.
Wow. My dad's favorite song too.
It's a badass song.
Great song. All right, I asked favorite book. I know it might be tough. So because there's entertainment and then there's actual real life and then I know you read a lot of stuff about a lot of things. So I guess that's hard. All right, let's pick a genre. Let's pick as far as entertainment for reading, which I know you don't like to do a lot. So if you had to pick a book, what's your favorite you've ever read? Like, oh, man, this book was so good, even though it's not my favorite genre. We'll go at it like what is it called? Fiction, non-fiction, whatever the hell. No.
Yeah. So it'd be fiction.
Sorry. Fiction. Sorry. Go fiction. Jeez. It's been a long day.
So favorite fiction is probably, I'm just going to say the Witcher series.
I tell you what.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The books are amazing.
Books are amazing. Too bad the show is decent, but they just change way too much with the show. And I'm not going to get into that yet. We're going to have time to talk about a lot of this stuff later on.
That's a topic for another day.
That's a whole show right there about what these shows are doing. I really want to delve into things with you. A lot of the guys I follow, a lot of this comic book stuff. And I don't know a lot. I don't go delve deep. You do. So you're the perfect person to talk about what they're doing with Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men now. Even they have a new cartoon coming out on Disney Plus, which they're changing a lot of things about it to make it current, which we know what that means.
You know what current means.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. We have a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna do mine. This is tough, man. Favorite wartime movie? God, I mean, it's cliched, but probably Saving Private Ryan.
I was gonna say that's.
Everybody picks Saving Private Ryan, but it really was. I mean, there's a lot of things I can choose. I like Platoon. You know, Black Hawk Down's up there, so I'd say probably Private Ryan. My favorite book. I know you like the word. You're gonna laugh at this because you're gonna say, "Oh, of course," but it's probably the Godfather book. And listen, yes, I'm gonna be, you know, of course. Part of my heritage. I mean, my name's Cannoli Sasquatch, for Christ's sake, but really was an amazing book. Really was an amazing book because it was. You know what I loved about the book? It was all about immigrants coming to America to make America great, and to do this whole thing. What does Tim say? How did Tanner not pick Battle Los Angeles?
Dude, that is like
this is the worst movie I've ever seen. My friend dragged me to that movie years ago, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I heard it's good." And I'm like, "Okay, you know." And I think about 15 minutes into it, dude, I was like, "Why are we here?" Jamie said 13 hours. 13 hours is a good movie. I think if it wasn't a Michael Bay movie, it would be higher.
It would,
and I'm not saying because I didn't love the story. I love the story because it was heartbreaking. Great action. I think in the hands of a better storyteller, though, it's a much better movie. But I still love the movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's in my top 5.
It's a great movie. And my favorite song,
Transformers Benghazi.
He's such an asshole. I probably say
needs to be on.
No, he won't come on.
And Tim, your handle absolutely is not Angry Asian. It's going to be Filipino Meatball.
Filipino meat, dude. Okay, Tim, let's get on this. You need to be on our stream next time. I could do 3. I can do up to 6 people on this bad boy. You wanted this, right? Do this, edit this, and this is what you get. Favorite song. It's gonna be a Led Zeppelin song, and
gotta be.
I'm not gonna pick Stairway to Heaven because it's too obvious.
I mean, it's a great song, but it's too cliche.
My favorite of God, I don't know, man. I'd probably say Dazed and Confused.
That's a great song.
I mean, the song is just epic. So I know my wife would pick Celine Dion, unfortunately. But, she's Canadian, though. I have a problem with that.
Didn't she marry her
father?
Childhood baby?
I mean, her old
is
man.
That true?
You mean the old man? Yeah. It was something like she would know. She could type it into the chat exactly what the relationship was like, but it was very weird.
I want to say that's true.
We go into live stream the spaghetti. Okay, so let's so you and Tim have a spaghetti sauce cook-off that I got to be the judge. Now
you're Italian, of course you have to be the judge.
Okay, I'm not going to be offended by this. It's true. Like who else, right?
Well, you're going to be offended when Tim fucking breaks the spaghetti in half.
We are streaming this, even if I have to do it from my phone.
Dude, it's going to happen.
Like this is going to happen now. This is my life. Unfortunately, what does that mean? Unfortunately,
that means yes. She did marry.
Okay, so you were right. Okay. Shut it. So anyway, yeah. So we got the pop cult. We got some of the cultural stuff. So anyway, for everybody's listening, whoever's gonna watch this, we're gonna go into a lot of different subjects when we're doing live streams. Personal videos. I'll make a few when Tanner actually has time. Maybe on his own channel he can. That's up to him. But he's got babies and jobs and businesses to start. Well, he's got a busy life. But I appreciate him coming on here to make this happen. And again, I'm thinking, another one maybe this weekend, if you're up for it.
For sure.
We'll talk maybe Saturday if that's easy for you. I don't know. We'll discuss it. We'll text.
Friday or Saturday, man.
Friday or Saturday. If we can make it happen again. We'll make it a little bit. We'll change subjects. We'll go more of entertainment, culture stuff. But real quick before we end, we got 10 minutes. I was going to save this for the next show, but let's talk about the terminal list real quick, Tanner.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're going all over the place, kind of.
That's what the show's about, man.
Yeah, but this is what I want. So we're going to do terminal list stuff. And I'm going to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score. And I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but I'll tell you why I like what they're doing here. This audience ratio to... Here, let's pull this up. Look at this. I mean, that's incredible. That's like... It's the opposite of like The Last Jedi type shit.
Right.
this tells me everything I need to know. Now, you could say the audience is, people will say, well, anybody can, you don't have to be the most intelligent person to like a show. I think it was well done. This actually, the critic score actually went up from 35 to 41. This is incredible. So this tells me that I'm getting to the point now. I don't know if you agree. When I see this on a Rotten Tomato score compared to the critic score, then I know that the show's good. They're doing something right. But because if you look at the critics, I mean, there was one article if I could find it out. It was somebody called it a right-wing conservative wet dream, basically.
Yep.
And, and even Jack Carr was like, there was no politics in the show. It was anti-government, but it wasn't like a specific division of government. It wasn't Democrat or Republican. So what do you think about this? Like, you see a score like this. We like the show. I know Tim has issues with the ending of the show, but that's because he's short. I loved it. I thought it was actually better than I thought. 8 episodes were great. I can't wait for it to come back if it does. You give me the rating and what you thought on this. Being ex-military, I know it's a different branch, but what did you think of this overall? The tactics, how they handle their weapons, the training that you think they had, and just overall the show.
Overall, I give the show a 9 out of 10. So that audience score is pretty on par. I thought it was excellent. We talked a little bit before we started streaming, but yeah, there were some things that were a little different.
Some things
that were different I liked. Yeah, I thought were okay. Other things were different and it didn't take away from it or anything. But yeah, when I first off, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Like, you're going to tell me that freaking Black Panther is a 99 out of 100?
I know they gave that, and it really is an overrated movie. And now, listen, I don't want to start getting into this fucking thing, culture shit. I'm talking about it just as a movie. Black Panther was extremely overrated. You can like the movie.
Yeah,
you can love the movie. To me, it was very overrated. Sorry.
It perfectly acceptable movie for the Marvel universe. It was fine for what it was.
Right.
But this idea that it's better than Shawshank, better than
people wanted it to win Best Picture,
better than Rocky, better than friggin' 2001 Space Odyssey. Like, get out of here.
No.
Anyway, Terminalist was great. I thought the tactics were awesome. Weapons manipulation, room clearing, everything looked great. I thought the cinematography was great.
Yeah, it was. Good directing. Yep.
We talked about it a little bit before. I thought the acting was pretty good from Chris Pratt.
I think everybody did pretty well.
I'm not a huge fan of Chris Pratt. I think he's a perfectly good actor. I like some of his stuff. I'm not a fan of Star-Lord and his cheeky, jokey stuff. I can't stand that crap. So I was pleasantly surprised when he actually showed some deep acting ability. Like, he showed emotion. Yeah. And it was believable. It didn't look fake.
No, it was. I think we talked about it. The 2 scenes that really stood out to me were the one where he obviously came home and saw his family, which, that was rough. But he did well. And then the part when he's talking to the FBI agent when he's held up in the desert when it's raining, and he shows a little bit of emotion, just kind of thinking back of everything that's been going on to that point. And listen, I don't care how tough you are. It's going to break some people. Everything he's been through. If that, I know it's fiction, but he showed some range there. I was actually shocked. But overall, I think you're right. I think is a great. I think you and Tim convinced me to raise my score, from an 8.5 to 9.
Yeah, you gave it an 8.5.
Yeah. I think initially when I was thinking about it, it was, I think we talked about this too. It was hard for me because I like the book a lot. But again, you two douchebags, you got to push me over the top. But this is why I love talking to people about stuff and disagreeing with things, but discussing things out, talking it out like a normal person, not getting offended. I was like, what, they're right. It is a 9 because you made me see some things because you pulled your Tanner magic. You knife-edged me, and told me to get my score up. Sasquatch, what is this? Hi, Peter North here, old adult.
Dude, I recognize that name, dude.
Is that real? Is that the real? Or are we just talking like a troll?
Dude, I hope it's the real dude.
If it's the real dude, hey, awesome. Right?
No homo, dude. I've seen so many of his porns, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, it's crazy. Like, we got, if this is true, I gotta look this up. I probably is a troll. I don't know because I don't really follow, but this is awesome because if that's true, we just hit gold. But anyway, yeah, I agree. I think the show's great. I hope it comes back. They've been talking about it, but you know, Chris Pratt's schedule and his movies. He's got to make bad dinosaur movies still. We got so many discussions to talk about. Shitty movies. We have a lot to talk about. Current events. We can get into some politics stuff closer it gets to midterms, especially. I don't want to go too heavy-handed there, but we're gonna have to. Burn off a tree. Thanks, Pete North. This guy's awesome. He's awesome. If he is the real Peter, he's awesome.
Hey, dude, Peter North introduced me to what 9 roping is. Because that dude could sling fucking yogurt like a boss.
Oh my god. Oh, we're gonna get in so much trouble on this thing. I love it. Shoot a bird off a tree. 10-10 fire. 10 out of 10 fire. What is he talking about?
He's talking about Peter North.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's a great show. I love the audience scores here. I think in the future, well, maybe even this weekend, we'll just talk about random shit. I don't know. We'll find subjects to talk about, personal, not interpersonal stuff, but like just life. I want to, like I said, get people to know us more. I want people to know, though, and I know you appreciate this, and this is the first video I did yesterday about all the best wishes to you, Fit. Thanks, Peter North. If you're the real Peter North, God bless.
Bro, I'm going to watch some of his porn tonight.
5 people watching this right now, and he's one of them. It's awesome. It's awesome. One day we're going to look up at that thing and hopefully see 5,000, but that could take years. But we're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Hey, man, we got Peter North on the first night, bro. I'm excited.
And his handle name. It's fucking amazing.
Good looking hungry.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so, you know, we're just gonna like the people, like a lot of the people that I already follow that it's kind of inspired me to push me into this. Besides, you know, Tanner and I talking about this for over a year now. Finally getting to do it. One thing I've noticed is that the people who get the best followings are the most authentic people. They're honest. They tell it like it is, and they don't apologize. So that's not us. We're like that. We're not going to do that. So I figure this is a great medium for us. I want to keep doing this. I know sometimes the schedules won't always work out for live streams. Tim, if you can get on, that would be nice to help me out once in a while.
Tim, I got a stool you can stand on.
Thank you. You can, instead of being 4'8", you could be 5'1". And then I got phone books if he needs to sit on a chair, make him a little higher. But yeah, anyway, we got a lot. I mean, Tanner's got a lot of stories, a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So anyway, I want you to go ahead, and I know Cassie's going to be home soon, right? So I'm going to get you off here. Yeah, I'll get you off. I know you got a baby to take care of, so I appreciate you coming on. We're going to do this again hopefully Saturday. I'll schedule a time. You'll get the reminders. I'll talk to my boy Tanner here. Eventually, the goal is to do a podcast style thing like this. A lot of video, maybe some audio. We'll load it up to one of our channels, or we'll create a channel. I'm looking into creating a channel, just a Whiskey and Cannoli podcast channel. But for now, we'll probably just load our podcast up to each other's channels for now and then go from there. We're going to do this in person at some point, probably sooner than later. Like I talked about yesterday, I got to bring all my equipment to a new place of business for a while. So we're going to be working off my shitty laptop for a while.
We are definitely bringing Jamie on for an episode of Celine Dion.
Oh, it has to happen.
I'm so down.
Well, this is the problem I have. We talked about this yesterday. If we get the wives on, which
it's not our show anymore.
She's your wife. It's pretty much over for us. Like, they're going to take over the podcast and be more popular than we ever thought of. So we're kind of screwed. I don't know anybody else. I don't know about you. For 2 people that should have a podcast or a YouTube channel, should be them together, like we're doing now.
Yes, because they, in the most sincere way possible,
let it happen, dude.
Daddy women.
Yes. A lot of opinions. Very emotional people. Hey, Cassie said, let's do it, Jamie. I'm telling you right now.
What's up, babe?
I don't see why not. Jamie would be perfect. I know Cassie. I've been around her. I love her. She's awesome. I think they have so much. Let me tell you this, too. Not only just effing around and bullshitting and having fun, a lot of life experience between those 2 people, being through a lot of shit. So I think they would be a good therapy for a lot of people to get their story out. Me and you, not so much. We're assholes, but
yeah, we talk about video games.
Yeah, no, we can get into some other stuff eventually, you know, but we're gonna kind of just make it a
life.
hodgepodge of stuff. Yeah, we talk about everything. So appreciate you, buddy. I will text you tomorrow when I finally get some sleep tonight, and I'll text you tomorrow. We'll schedule a time for the weekend. I really appreciate you coming on, doing this with me, dude. We're gonna make this happen. And what does Jamie say? I'm trying to share a TikTok, but I have start a TikTok. But I have no ideas. Okay, I'm not going to help you there because I have no idea what I'm doing on this platform. Never mind TikTok.
I was going to say,
you know what? Jules, though, TikTok is popular. I'm saying, you know, if you don't want to do an OnlyFans, TikTok is the next space. I need a new computer. So I said if for a month of doing OnlyFans, it might be okay. Just for 1 month, right? If I can get my new equipment to me. So we'll come up with some subjects to talk about in the next podcast or the next video cast, whatever the hell you call it. If Tim has the balls to show up, it'd be great. If not,
he won't.
He won't. I mean, come on. What was his name? The Filipino meatball?
Filipino meatball.
It's got to happen.
Dude.
G is an expert. Yeah. Well, she's an expert at being a pan. Yeah. No, I love my daughter. She's crazy, but I love her. Another part of the reason why I'm doing this is to show her that it's okay to try, no matter how old or late it is in the game.
That's right.
Put your anxieties to the side, try it, and if you fail, oh well, we're not going to fail though because we're awesome. I mean, look at us, we're sexy bitches, so we're going to be okay.
Obviously, yeah. Look at all those eggplants down there.
Look at the eggplants. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's an eggplant though. So what are you insinuating? Yeah, that's a lot of. All right, on that note, I'm going to let you go. Go kiss the baby goodnight. Say hello to Cassie for me. I will talk to you. I'll see you hopefully Saturday or Friday or Saturday evening. We'll work that out. And I appreciate you coming on, buddy. And I will talk to you soon.
Of course, dude.
All right, buddy. I'll see you then.
All right. Good night.
Bye.